This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight. So delighted to be joined here on Zoom with Mr. JJ Metcalf. How are we, brother?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've got to say, one of the more unorthodox backgrounds for a Zoom. Where are we today?
Do you know what? Just been in the gym at this day and a sauna and that. Just come back out now.
Nice, nice. Look, it's been a whirlwind last couple of years for yourself. I suppose, firstly, Dublin itself, just a reflection on that before we talk through the fight. What an incredible occasion. Obviously, in the name, Kid Shamrock being able to go and do it in Dublin, bringing it back to big time. How special was that whole night and everything for you?
That was brilliant. We had a load of fans there. I think we took about 400 or 500 over. Only just stopped partying now. So yeah, we had a great time over there. Special occasion. And I'm buzzing to be a part of it.
When you put it into perspective, and sort of it has always been the hard way, and we will go into that, but sort of having an opportunity where you sort of were the A side, it was still a good fight against someone in Dennis Hogan who was seasoned, but it felt like it was for you. You had fans there for you. Do you know what I mean? You had that sort of A side backing. How special was that, given everything you've had to come through?
Well, I think he had a bigger following there because when I first come out, my song comes out with like the start of the Pink Floyd song. It's like, is there anybody out there? As I looked around, they're all booing me, loads of booing.
Oh
But
shit.
then, as soon as the Irish Rover come on, they couldn't help themselves but have a little go. So they're all dancing and singing. So that was good.
On the performance itself, were you happy? At times, sort of, it was a little bit, I don't know, cagey, as say, but it wasn't really your fault. A lot of sort of comments maybe on Hogan boxing a little bit negative, but you went in there and got the win as you had to do.
Yeah, well, we sort of expected that from him. Like, once against Munguia, he's very experienced what he does, and he was just offsetting Munguia, moving, then catching him with little shots as he sort of stands still to let his hands go. But so we were expecting that. But yeah, I think the game plan worked properly, and probably could have executed it a bit better. But he was very experienced, and he's using every little trick in the book.
Well, we talk about game plan, and I want to sort of go into everyone else and all the opportunities and further fights for you now. But let's talk a little bit about Joe McNally because what a story it's been in the last couple of years for him as well. Obviously got a great stable now down at the Rotonda in Liverpool. And I know how close he is with his fighters. How nice is that for you? He's out in New York at the minute. But when you're in a camp, you've got him closely with you, Deck as well. It's a real tight-knit family bond.
It is, yeah. People don't know. I worked with that. I mean, with Joseph about a few years back. I was with George Vaughan in our gym, and we were working alongside each other then. And then, I knew back then how good it was, but we parted ways over something, and I ended up with my dad. Then when I went back, I've seen how much he's come on as well as a coach, and him and Deck working together, it's just a perfect pair. And I think if they give you a game plan, if you execute it, you're gonna win.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's look at the names at 154. The belts are tied up, but there are some big names out there. I suppose before we go into that, you were sort of given, uh, not to say opportunities that you weren't expected to win, but sort of thrown into fights as such with Kieran Conway and Ted Cheeseman, but certainly shown your level in those. Looking back at now, and then obviously the Kerman Laraja fight, and obviously that Hogan fight. What's come on for you in that time?
You know what? I just think everything's fitting into place. Joseph and Declan's provided me with like a perfect structure, which I didn't have before. I mean, my camp was a bit like up and down. It was, very hard as well, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I had a couple of issues, a couple of injuries and stuff before before the Cheeseman fight, and then I hadn't boxed for a long time, and I think I sort of just everything just went right that night, and I carried them injuries on, and I never went in the gym, and then I got that the Conway fight straight up, like I think they gave me 6 weeks, or I just went straight into that without training since then, and I've still had issues worrying about if they were going to come back during the fight, so I went in with the wrong tactics and everything. So I think since moving, I've just the structure's been perfect, and they've come up with a perfect game plan, and I executing them.
Do you think it sort of perhaps showed your level though, even though in defeat and probably not everything right, you gave like real good performances and then were able to sort of relish and take another opportunity against Laraja and then take that?
What you say? Sorry.
Do you think that sort of those two performances and how well you did despite not being the victor in them obviously prove that you were able to go in and take a fight like the Laraja fight?
Yeah, well, I always have people come up to me and they remember the achievement fight, so sort of does me head in because, I know when I win 100%, I reckon it was probably 60% not taking anything away from Ted Cheeseman because he's a warrior and, he done exactly what he needed to do that night. But I know myself, but everyone like remembers that fight and go, that was a great fight, but it does my head in because I know right and, I know I'm a lot better than that.
Well, JJ, you've got the world at your feet now. The belts are tied up at 154, but are there fights that you look out? I mean, sort of, you still look at the names like your Danny Garcia, your Adrian Broner, Conor Benn, even maybe at 154. There's so many fights there. Do you have an idea of how you want to go about it? Is there any fight that tickles your fancy?
Them three fights you've just mentioned would be brilliant. I do what, I'm 34, 35 in July. I don't feel old, I feel in the best shape in your life, but I wanna try and get the big names and push on. I don't want to be stuck around fighting, just taking fights for no reason, sort of thing. I want the big names, big fights, and want to try and earn a few quid from the sport. No.
How do how do those fights go where you're sort of in with the top? You look at the Danny Garcias, the Adrian Broners, Conor Benn perhaps. How do you see those fights going with that sort of, I suppose,
I
fringe?
I honestly believe if I'm right on the night and everything goes right, I don't get beat, and that's me honest thoughts. Like I think if I get the game, Joseph gets the game plan right and I execute it properly, I won't get beat by any of them.
Is there sort of one name that you would love to have the most, or is
No,
it just an abundance?
Conor Benn is probably the biggest for the Britain, so probably that. But I don't know if he's fighting Chris Eubank, but if he fights Beefy, no, I'd love that fight. And it's made for a great fight as well for the fans, so that'd be brilliant. But I'd also, if not, I'd like the Danny Garcia or the Broner over in America or something. I'll take a load of people over there. They'll have a great time.
And that you definitely would. JJ, all right then, let's talk about a little bit about the stable as such. Josh Taylor and Joe, as I just mentioned, are out in New York preparing for Teofimo Lopez. Some comments came out last night from Lopez, and I'm curious to your thoughts on them. We know that Teofimo sort of made all sorts of questionable remarks and statements over the last 12 months, but he said that he took Loma's heart and that Josh Taylor has no heart, so what can he take off him? His life, and that he wants to kill Josh Taylor in the ring. Now, we're in a sport like this, and we can't be wishing death on people, etc. Your thoughts on those comments?
No, he's an idiot for making them comments. And well, I think Josh will make him pay for them as well. He's looked great in the gym. And yeah, I don't see nothing other than a Josh Taylor win.
How nice has it been sharing the gym with someone like Josh Taylor, who obviously sort of his accolades speak for himself. He's been able to sort of regain and find a true him as such. Back in the gym with you boys, how nice has that been?
Brilliant, yeah. In the gym, there's every person in there's like got something down. You know, we've got Callum Smith in there with us most of the
Yeah,
time. Got Liam Smith in with us. Got Josh Taylor. We've got even Darren Till started coming in with us
yeah.
as well. Molly's in there sometimes. Just everyone's there, but everyone seems to push each other. No, I don't look at them as what they've done. I just look at them as a person, and you can see why they've done so well with the drive they've got. It does help because I've got a similar drive, so I'm hoping, I can achieve some of the stuff they have.
Well, JJ, two more from me. Caoimhín Agyarko was also on that bill. I know he's just sort of linked up with the boys. I'm sure endless rounds between you and him. Probably a little bit of a frustrating performance, but happy to get back out into the swing of things, etc. What does the future hold for Caoimhín?
Got a massive future, so skillful and fast hands. He's got it all, but he's got over his hand injury. He's got a couple of valuable rounds in the bank. It's only going to be a best holding best in the future. So I look forward to watching him as well.
Well, you mentioned Liam Smith. There's a bit of sort of uncertainty around sort of his next options. Obviously, we heard that the Eubank fight had been sort of cancelled slash postponed. We don't know if that is going to happen again. I won't sort of ask you for anything on that, but having spent time with him, etc., is he okay given all the sort of mess about date wise and everything? And I suppose just looking to get back out there regardless of who it is.
He's ready to kick on now. He had a back issue and he wouldn't have had the time to get himself right. But he's a proper professional. He hasn't went in there giving himself like 80% because he knows his back went right, and he's going in to win again, and I believe he'll do the same sort of job on him again. So yeah, if that like comes off, you'll be 100% Liam.
Well, JJ, it's a pleasure. It's a real nice story to see how things have come on in the last couple of years or so. Always lovely catching up with you and your team. I will leave you to get about your Wednesday afternoon, I believe it is. Just a final message. I know you had a lot of support out in Ireland to some of your fans and sponsors.
Yeah, just like to thank them all. Everyone, that the amount of people that come over, and Dublin isn't cheap, and
No,
people
it's not.
spending their money supporting me, and I really appreciate it. I'd like to thank my sponsors, my nutritionists, my food fella, juice, Liverpool juice, and sausage skips as well. They've helped me out a lot.
JJ, top man, thank you for speaking to us at Boxing Social.